Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beast Reptile Rampage episode number 16. I'm Adam and this is the last battle of round 1 where we got the last two beasts yet to fighting each other for that last spot in round 2. But now, I was given these matchups for this entire round from my good friend Lucas, and once myself, Lucas and Jack evaluated each match, we came to the collective decision that there was one which was more hype than others. Whilst we did have some great matchups like Crestor versus Draka, Malix versus Naga, Arcana versus Anoret to an extent, and even some of the more underwhelming ones like Quark versus Torno, and Strato versus Rilla, Vetrix versus Pacifica, we ultimately decided that we think that the most exciting matchup of them all is this one. So, let's introduce them. Representing Series 1, where it all began, the beast which is a semi-finalist from the OG tournament and has made it to the top 10 of the new generation tournament, solidifying himself as one of the most formidable beasts to ever enter this tournament. We have Ferno the Fire Dragon versus his opponent, the last remaining special yet to participate in this tournament. This special competed in the Specials Generation tournament and has made it to the top 4 before dying to Kreta, the Winged Terror. No, before dying to Raksha, the Mirror Demon. I don't even remember who he killed, who was left. This beast got labelled as the underdog of the Specials Generation tournament, and despite not making it very far in the All Generation tournament, he did gain a few good victories under his belt. But with the title of a former semi-finalist, just like Ferno is, we came to the agreement that if there are two semi-finalists going against each other, they had to go against each other in the last battle of this round. And so, Ferno's opponent is Falkor, the Coiled Terror. So this is the final battle of round 1, probably one of the most hyped up battles of this round due to both of them being former semi-finalists. And with that, let's get to the stats. Ferno the Fire Dragon. In caves in the south by Avantia's winding river lurks Ferno the Fire Dragon. Ferno is so enormous he has been mistaken for one of the mountains. The Fire Dragon patrols the river and makes sure that the southern towns of the kingdom are never flooded. Should the waters rise, he can use his clawed feet to build protective dams. Their sudden appearances confuse the locals, but they are very grateful for them. Age 288, power 212, magic level 180, fright factor 91, size 465. Powers and abilities: fire breath, flight, enhanced strength, enhanced speed, enhanced durability, natural weaponry, limited camouflage to look like a rock, and poison immunity. Weaknesses are enchantments and durability limits. Falkor the Coiled Terror. This vast, dark snake is one of the most ancient creatures ever to protect the kingdom, and a companion of Rufus, Avantia's first wizard. But when he is bewitched by Beric, the venomous beast poses a threat to the whole kingdom. Both his bite and his squeezing coil are killers. Age 432, power 283, magic level 168, fright factor 83, size 333. Abilities are enhanced agility, acidic saliva, constriction, enhanced durability, enhanced strength, and tail whip. Weaknesses, not sure on those yet, but probably durability limits. Okay, so with the stats department done for both of these beasts, I can safely say the battlefield will be the Fallen Kingdom arena. And with that, let's get into this. As the chamber doors open, Falkor immediately exits from his chamber, slithering up into the centre of the arena and roaring into it, causing all the spectators to cheer Falkor's name, knowing how much of a legend he is among the Battle of the Beasts tournament. Meanwhile, from the other side, a low growling can be heard. Falkor looks over and sees a pair of red eyes, plus a little bit of orange coming from below them, As Falkor looks closer, he's surprised by a jet of fire that instantly comes out towards him. Falkor dives out of the way as the fire hits a building behind him. And out from the fire comes Ferno, the fire dragon. Instantly, all the spectators start cheering louder for Ferno's entrance, also knowing Ferno is a legend among Battle of the Beasts. At this point, both beasts stare down each other, fully aware of each other's achievements in these tournaments, knowing that they both made it to the semi-finals before being taken down by who went on to be the winners of their respective tournaments. As they stare each other down, they're just waiting for whoever's going to make the first move. Falkor, without Ferno's knowledge, wraps his tail around a large boulder behind the building, and instantly, as quick as a flash, he lifts the boulder up and chucks it towards Ferno. Ferno sees that, ducks out of the way before breathing fire directly towards Falkor. Falkor immediately dives out of the way behind a building as Ferno takes up to the sky, charges right through the building where Falkor was hiding. Falkor is coiled down below the building where Ferno just charged right through and bites down onto Ferno's tail, pulling him back through the building. As Ferno takes up to the sky, Falkor keeps his grip firmly on Ferno and controls his body to wrap it around Ferno's body, causing Ferno to hoist Falkor up. As Falkor coils up Ferno's body, Ferno turns around and spits fire directly on Falkor. Falkor bows his head so that his scales just take the fire, as the fire just seems to brush right off Falkor. Falkor then bites down onto one of Ferno's wings, and using the weight of his whole body, he snaps that wing, followed by the other one. Ferno is instantly starting to plummet down to the ground before he turns his whole self over so his back is facing the ground, as both Ferno and Falkor crash into one of the buildings there. As Ferno gets up from using Falkor as a crash mat, he makes his way out into the open, staring right at where Falkor was. Falkor gets up, hissing aggressively, and charges up towards Ferno. Ferno lifts up one of his claws and pins Falkor down to the ground, stopping him right in his tracks. Falkor immediately lashes his tail forward, grabs Ferno's other leg, and pulls it from beneath him, causing Ferno to fall over. Falkor then retreats his head back and bites into Ferno's other leg. The venom inside of Falkor doesn't seem to affect Ferno much at all, almost like he's immune to his venom. Falkor, as frustration, releases his grip off of Ferno's leg from his tail and wraps his tail around Ferno's neck. Ferno's about to breathe fire directly on Falkor, but is instantly stopped when his airflow gets cut off. Ferno then leans his head forward to bite down onto Falkor's neck and pulls away at the scales and then bites down onto the flesh. Right, sorry about that. Just had to quickly take care of something. Will say, whilst the video was paused, I completely forgot where I was in the fight. And, yeah, so I think I was at the part where Ferno is being constricted by Falkor's tail and can't breathe fire anymore because he was about to breathe it on Falkor, but Falkor stopped him from doing it by constricting his airflow. So we're going to go from there. As Ferno now can't breathe fire, he leans his whole self forward to bite down towards Falkor. Falkor recoils his head back and bites down onto Ferno's mouth, putting his fangs right through his upper jaw and lower jaw. Ferno roars in pain over this and can't even release any fire, but smoke does release from his body, in which it just comes through the gaps that Falkor's left in his snout. As Falkor releases his bite off of Ferno, he then bites down onto Ferno's neck. Ferno continues to roar in pain over this, But realising that Falkor's now reachable, he turns his head and bites down onto Falkor's neck with such enough force it causes Falkor to instantly stop biting Ferno, but lets go of his neck. Ferno then uses his claw, slams Falkor's tail into the ground, digging his claws into it, and using his other claw, he's able to turn himself around to pin Falkor down by the neck, in which instantly Ferno bows his head and bites into Falkor's underbelly, exposing his flesh. He bites through that, exposing blood to gush out of Falkor's underbelly. He then builds up fire and breathes fire directly on that exposed part of his underbelly. Falkor screeches in pain, feeling the burning sensation inside his entire body. Smoke is exiting from his mouth as his internal organs are being boiled alive inside of him. Falkor is able to twist his head and bites down into Ferno's leg. As Ferno stops breathing fire onto Falkor's exposed underbelly, he focuses more on Falkor's head, which he releases his grip from his neck with his leg, bites down onto it with his neck and uses his claws and pries out Falkor's eyes and pulling his head backwards, strangling him but also pulling his head with his claws jammed in his eyes, where Falkor's just screeching in pain, unable to escape but also now completely unable to breathe. Ferno then releases his grip off of his neck and bites down onto his screeching mouth. And then instead of following through with the bite, he just breathes fire directly down Falkor's mouth, burning Falkor's throat entirely. His pried out eyes having smoke coming out of it like a chimney, and Falkor's screeching immediately comes to a stop. As Ferno releases his grip off of Falkor, just to ensure that the job is done, using both his claws, he pins down Falkor's neck, grabs him by the head and twists it, breaking Falkor's neck. And making sure, further to make sure the job is done, he breathes fire and incinerates all of Falkor's body, burning the insides of Falkor beyond recognition, leaving just a few charred scales left. Ferno makes his way back to his chamber, not before using his tail to knock over a building, burying what's left of Falkor's corpse. And with that, Ferno is moving on to round 2, and Falkor is out. So if you think Falkor should have won, please comment below. I think about how my word's final and Ferno's moving on to the next round. Now, being honest, I have no idea where the fight was when I had to pause the video. I went with the best of my knowledge, and if it was the same area like I said it, think it was at, then happy days, I've done good. But if not, I do apologise, but the ending was probably going to be the same whatsoever. They're both non-stop fighters. Falkor is cunning, Ferno's also cunning. They both have a lot going for them. Ultimately, what made me give Ferno the victory is that he has more diversity with close-up combat, whilst Falkor only has his tail and his fangs and his acidic saliva, which does nothing on Ferno, by the way. And with that, that's why I gave Ferno the victory. He had more diversity going on there, and he does have lots of experience as well as Falkor does. So with that is all of round 1. We're now down to 16 beasts remaining. Join me when we start round 2. Where we'll go from 16 to 8. But first, we got a summary video to do. I'll see you then. Peace out.